Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Get Wicked podcast, where we talk about nothing but the game Villainous by Ravensburger. I am your host, Joker Jonesy, and today I have my wonderful co-host, Headmaster Ditto. Ditto, I think we're in for a doozy today.
That's putting it highly, mildly. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what we're in for.
Jesus. I would normally ask you about coffee, but I feel like, is the coffee that important today?
I mean, it's
Are you drinking
new.
it right
So
now?
I am not presently, but I had a cup of it this morning. It was very good.
It was good. Was it the pre-ordered stuff?
It is. I got it in Monday. It's very good.
It's very good. Oh, well, I'm glad it's very good. Does it taste like a sweet sensation of Marvel? Does it taste like
It's got a little bit of like a chocolate nutty kind of taste to it almost.
Ugh.
It's very interesting.
That's an interesting taste. God.
But we've got bigger fish to fry right now.
We got bigger fish to fry, indeed.
Something's very wrong in the state of Villainous.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say necessarily wrong. It's just there's lots to talk about today. So for those of you listening to the show right now, Marvel Villainous has officially had more information, a giant dump today. The day that we're recording this is June 25th, 2020. And we've officially gotten word of the final two characters that Ditto and I have known for a long time. Killmonger and Taskmaster. Now, on top of that, I've heard some behind the scenes development stuff from a few people. And this basically officially confirms a lot of things on top of talking about a few more things that that I was not expecting to see. And we're just going to dive right in. Now, to note, with these press releases we're talking about, they mainly focus on Taskmaster and Killmonger. So we still don't have a real big idea on how Thanos, Ultron, and Hela are going to work. But we do have a general, more like global understanding of how a lot of the game mechanics are going to work with these press releases and things that they've kind of announced with everything. So we're just going to kind of give our thoughts, opinions. This is the first Ditto and I talked a little bit before recording, but I think we're just going to try to throw our opinions out as we go through the show. It's going to be weird.
Oh,
yeah. So where do you think is a good place to start, Ditto?
That is a fantastic question.
You think we should start with some of the new things we've least seen?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way.
Let's just get that out of the way. So I guess we'll start with some mechanical things that we've noticed that we've seen within this press release, as well as one of the teaser cards that we saw a little bit on Twitter. Was it last week, I believe? One of the new mechanics that's pretty clear is that you in Villainous now can directly interact with your villain cards in other realms/domains, is what we're going to call them.
Oh yeah, it's very clear at this point that it's not separate realms anymore. At this point, the entire table is just one playing field.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
It makes sense to kind of be the contrasting factor between this and the Disney sets. The mechanics of it are going to be really fun to watch develop over time, especially since the primary one that we have information about is like moving your cards into other players' domains. And I can't wait to see what kind of debuffs you can get with that.
Yeah. Just to point out some of the things that we've seen with the cards so far is one of Killmonger's cards allows him to place or relocate is the key word here that they use on these cards.
Yep.
Is Killmonger can relocate explosives to another player's domain.
It's weird that it does look like there has been a little bit of a change in how these cards are worded.
Yeah, and I think there's a good reason for that because, and we'll talk about this with another keyword that we'll get to later. But I think it's clear that they were really trying to clean up some of the, I don't want to call it jank, but like some of the weird instances that you can have with certain card effects in Disney Villainous. Because relocate is like trying to make a specific keyword event that triggers when like this character is moving around, if that makes sense.
Right.
So now when you need to refer to that within an effect or a condition or what have you, you can actually use relocate, and then you as the player understand that relocate means place in the character. Because that was half of some of the issues we were having when trying to interpret cards and stuff. Was like when we were talking about the new conditions that came with Perfectly Wretched when it came to moving an ally or item, we didn't understand if that was particularly to a villain card or if that could be anything in general. Even when someone fates another player to move something, this makes it a little bit more clear. Like they're trying to use that clear language of like you as the player are relocating something to a different domain. That's what that means. I think it's a good call, personally.
It's a good call. I don't know what kind of impact it's going to have on the compatibility thing that everyone's kind of been thinking about.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
But there's some interesting things. I'm curious.
Yeah. Because something else that we've basically kind of been told is this relocate to another player's domain. It's pretty clear on how things work that you can basically play cards to other players' domains, and there's a lot of different effects that allow you to relocate cards to other players' domains. So like in Taskmaster has a card. I'm pulling it up here in the slideshow. That's called redeploy, and it looks like relocate up to 3 allies you control.
Yeah.
Which also is a good call with the wording, because obviously if you're going to be having different allies belonging to different players in different domains, you need to specify the language to make sure it says under your control. That's a good call, because obviously condition cards that would be like the amount of allies you have at blah blah blah, you could play this card, and now this says like, hey, you can only move stuff around that you control, which I think is a good call.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's obvious that they're trying to figure out a way to word it so that it makes sense, because as far as Villainous goes, this is completely uncharted territory.
Yeah, this is new stuff.
It's very, very interesting to look at.
Yeah. So, to go along with the domain relocation stuff, there's also something very interesting. And this is a key word that you find on a little fake card. If you look at the Taskmaster press image, which it shows off Taskmaster's domain, and there's a fake card that's clearly Black Widow. Black Widow reads, when Black Widow is played, you may defeat an ally at her location. Not
Yep. Yep. That one really concerns me a little bit.
This basically wholeheartedly confirms that more than likely you as the player have the option to go defeat other players' allies or heroes at their domains.
Yeah, that's what it has to be. They have to be making that more of an option, because I'm looking at actually one of Killmonger's cards now, and the way it's worded is defeat a character with strength of 4 or less in your domain.
Right.
Not defeat a hero. Defeat a character.
Correct. That's pretty clear.
So they're definitely messing with how combat in this game is taking place.
Now, I want to ask you this, because I know you are kind of the RTS fan that I know, that you like, building this like civilization and trying to move your characters to take stuff out in Age of Empires kind of style. Do you think that's the approach they're trying to take with this game?
It might be.
How do you feel?
The thing is, at this point, these two characters are actually the two we know the most about.
Right.
And they are very set up your engine and then deploy it. With Taskmaster, it's going to be pile up all the allies in one place, buff them up real strong, and then send them out. With Killmonger, it's going to be stocking up on power to defeat Klaw, taking over the mines, and then just paying out basically every turn to drop explosives everywhere. In all likelihood, it's very much a wait for the right moment to strike type of game, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, no, this definitely has taken a different direction where, and we've talked about this way when we were first talking about Marvel Villainous and the few times we brought it up on different shows. This game seems like, Disney Villainous, I feel, is a much better 2-player game. It's got a much more TCG aspect to how the game is kind of paced. You got your deck, your opponent has their own deck, you have your fake cards that basically hurt you, etc., but you can counter kind of back and forth. That it seems a lot more like, oh, you can play a matchup base. Well, here with Marvel Villainous, yeah, that might still kind of exist to some extent, but it seems more of like, yeah, we want you to play with a few other players and really get that experience of traveling to different areas and trying to take things out and trying to halt the progress of your opponent by playing in these allies over there and doing stuff that way. It's very clear on that front that that's what they kind of want to do. And I actually really dig it. I think one thing that tabletop industry as a whole has kind of lacked to do really well is make a true Civilization style game. There are a few out there I know that people like, but usually Civilization games usually rely on a little bit more of the deeper, like very heavy strategy style where like these games last 2 hours or more. I feel like Marvel Villainous, if it like, even though it's not trying to necessarily advertise itself like that, I do think it's going to itch an audience where if you are into the Civilization style of game, you'll be really into it.
Now's the time.
Now's the time. Because even I know Ditto's been playing a little bit more Root lately. Root is also, it's a war game / Civilization kind of game, and there are very similar mechanics, and everyone's goal is the same, but the way that you actually achieve your goal with each individual faction is different. And here with Marvel Villainous, yeah, there are particular steps that you as the player have to do to achieve your own personal goal, but the way that that can be escalated and the way that you can affect other people's pacing of their goals, you now have more direct control over, which is interesting. I'm really, really excited to kind of see how that all plays out. But we're not even done with the new stuff, Ditto. Believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it.
There is something else that actually I noticed right before I had to ask you about, which I think is insane. So if you were looking at the press release for Killmonger, on Killmonger's board, you will notice something that is different. There is an extension to the villain board. And apparently, it looks like that's a specialty tile area.
Yeah. And that kind of confirms what we were thinking about the specialties just kind of being persistent, passive. Just kind of, hey, this is a thing now. Kind of effects.
Yeah. Things that can't be directly tampered
with. Although I'm kind of curious about it now because obviously Control the Mines is going to be a persistent specialty that you're going to need to have as Killmonger.
Right.
But then you've got, and you're going to have to forgive if I butcher the pronunciation on this, I'm not good at words, Rage of Kaluna, which is also a specialty, so I don't know how those stack. I'm a little curious to see if you only get to use one of them at a time, or if they're just all persistent at once. Like, that's an interesting interaction to think about.
Yeah, because if you look at the picture as well, right now it looks like the Control the Mines is on the specialty area.
That's definitely Control. No, that's the Mines are lost.
Oh, the Mines are lost. That's my bad.
Yeah, that's the flip side.
And then Klaw specifically. So Klaw is actually a quote unquote rival which is a new type
New
of
card
card.
type.
That Klaw is a tile that starts on the board, and then when he is defeated, you flip him over and move move the tiles in this pile to the specialty area of your domain.
Yeah, it's really cool to look at him specifically because he's a villain card. He's not a hero or anything.
Right.
He's going to be he's someone like in your realm that you are going to have to defeat with your own cards.
Right.
Which again kind of ties back to why it's defeat a character on Killmonger's Fury.
Right, exactly.
Very, very interesting concept here.
Yeah. Now, granted, we obviously don't know all the items and stuff that exist within Killmonger's suite of stuff, but I mean, granted, yeah, Klaw is 5 strength, and was it Killmonger's whatever says
4.
defeat a character with 4 or less strength. You know, so it's very interesting. It's obviously that they're playing with the fact that there's going to be not only allies, heroes, whatnot, there's rivals, which makes a lot of sense for a lot of different characters.
Oh yeah, like that is something I have to think about now too. As far as like directly rival stuff.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome thought. Like super dope.
Because you got how many? I'm guessing all of them are going to have a rival like that.
The thing is, I don't think it'll be everybody. Well, it might be for Taskmaster because in the Taskmaster article, they actually reference specifically there's a character named Butterball that directly, I guess, counters Taskmaster more than even someone like Black Widow. But that might be a rival. But then again, how does that card actually appear? Because it doesn't seem like Butterball is going to start.
Possibly not. It may be a fate card goes and plays it. It's like a find Butterball and play it kind of thing. I don't really know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see on that one.
Yeah. It might be something where a rival is associated with the villain deck, but it acts like a hero. If that makes sense.
It might.
Even with that too, there might be some special things with rivals where they aren't defeated or aren't discarded when used, because it's possible that Klaw specifically might actually start in play at the Golden City, and he is actually an ally that you control, but he's technically a rival that you can use to defeat stuff. That also could be something.
It could be.
Yeah, because he is in a fate card. He is a villain card, and villain cards aren't played to the top directly. So that would be an interesting way to go.
I'm curious to see how this card type develops, because
yeah,
that's an interesting concept if that's what they're going with.
Yeah, and maybe what it is that like like I said, we might be super analyzing this over the top, but maybe the rival cards are the cards that you can defeat that are on the villain side. Like maybe normally you cannot defeat allies with like your other ally cards, but rivals you can defeat and they're on your villain side. Like even you personally could defeat the card.
Right.
So
and in some, like with Killmonger, it seems like you're going to have to.
Right.
Which
like directly have to.
It makes me, because it strikes me as a really interesting scenario, because Klaw with 5 strength would be a really strong ally to have.
Right.
So what it starts getting fun. It's like, okay, when is the right time to go ahead and just launch my attack here? It's gonna be fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, especially because was it when Klaw's flipped over? It says flip this tile over to reveal Challenge of the Throne, and then the specific Board Game Geek article talks about how this kind of goal mirrors the Black Panther film, where you first need to defeat Klaw, who starts at the Golden City, and then blocks to half the. Okay, so it does say in the article that he does block half the actions available on that space. So it must be something specific they do talk about, like in his villain guy or something like that.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Once you do
either
that,
way,
I'm ascend to the throne, after which you will control the mines with the tile, allowing you to plant explosives in the domains of other players. So there must be more to this than we're explaining, but I guess what the Challenge of the Throne must be something of like there's a few different specialty cards you must have in your control. So like control the mines for a specific has to be one, because I can't see how you just have to like you flip control the mines over, get to the part where you can use the ability and win. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially with that ability that they're listing. So, God, I could talk about this.
This is a fun setup. I'd also like to bring attention to this real small detail on Wakabi as well. It says it can't be it's the ally, but it says it can't be played when Klaw's in your domain.
Oh, really?
I gotta look
this up closer.
Part of it's obscured by the next card, but it's a very important little detail there that sets a fun precedent for the future too.
That's like the first time we've really seen that.
It is.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it makes sense too, because Killmonger didn't really start gaining traction with people until Klaw was defeated, so makes sense.
Interesting. Then the funny thing too is I'm reading the other specialty, the rage of the one that you can't pronounce, and I'll try not to butcher it myself. But most likely the card next to it is Killmonger Fury, and says that before moving your villain, you may discard a card from your hand
to go find it.
Fury, then add it to your hand.
He looks like he's going to be super aggressive.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Sounds like a character I would like.
I don't know. It depends on how the specialties work.
Yeah,
if you can just slap them and stack them all on top, or if you can only have one working at a time.
Yeah.
And if they can be discarded, that's the other thing I'm thinking about.
Trying to see if there's anything with the hero card specifically that are anything outstanding.
Well, what's kind of interesting there is Black Panther gains 2 strength while in Killmonger's realm. I kind of expected that was something that was going to exist.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I can't quite tell what Shuri's card is supposed to say. I'm guessing when Shuri is played, it's got to be choose an item from the target player's domain, and then Shuri gains +1 strength token for the cost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which makes her highly brutal, I think.
Oh yeah, because you play it to because if you look at even Taskmaster's sword item, the sword item costs 2. So if you play it to Taskmaster where the sword is, it's
she's suddenly a 5 strength murder machine.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's strength tokens, and what I assume is that the strength tokens persist.
So yeah, that's got to be it. It's like they can't be removed. I think
that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, like they get removed when they're defeated, but yeah, some interesting stuff.
It's curious as to why they would feel the need to tag these cards with the specific villains. I mean, it's just I guess it's just kind of a hint, is like, hey, play this hero against this person, kind of a thing.
I don't even think it's that, honestly. I think it's more of like, so since the Fate deck is combined, all of the backs of the cards have to be the same.
That's true too.
Yeah, and then like when you're setting up the game and
that is a thing.
That's the way for you to identify that card.
Yeah, that is an issue that I did.
You're also right where like you have that icon to say like, oh, this belongs to Killmonger, so it probably affects Killmonger and probably a lot heavier than other players. But I think that's what it is. Something to keep in mind too, is that the way that it looks like Shuri's card is phrased, it looks like you could play these anywhere.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. So just to let you folks know, something I was hearing behind the scenes was the way that the Fate system works, and this is not official confirmation of how this works, is that the way that Fate cards would work is that you draw the 2, and then you basically are the card. So let's say in this case, like Black Panther can only play to Killmonger's realm, essentially. It's the only place he can be played. And then if you drew 2, like if you faded and then drew 2 Killmonger cards and you're the Killmonger player, you would have to play the card on yourself. Does not seem like that's the case anymore.
No, but it definitely looks like the Fate action doesn't target anybody anymore.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm flipping the top 2 cards of the Fate deck oh, this is what this is? All right, here you go.
Yeah. And like it seems like the cards are more universally designed.
Universally harmful, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like anything specific. Because even like, yeah, Black Panther says gains 2 strength on that Killmonger's domain, but like it's still a 4 strength hero that can block top actions. So
oh yeah, it's still a force to be reckoned with, even outside of Killmonger.
Right. So
or like Shuri. The Shuri could hit anybody.
Right, exactly.
Imagine how much cost the Infinity Gauntlet's going to have, and you want to play her there?
Oh Jesus! Oh no! Oh no, that would be brutal. I don't know about that. Ew. Some scary stuff right there. I don't want anyone to be the Ursula of this game.
Oh boy.
But yeah, some interesting stuff, and then like some other just like tiny tidbits with this Killmonger, and then we can move on a little bit to Taskmaster. Looks like the card designs of the backs look the same. Looks like the card art is gonna have a little bit of a different style. So like
yeah, it's got like the sharper kind of line work as opposed to the more oil painting kind of style in the other game.
Yeah.
It's got a little more. It's a little sharper. It's got brighter effects.
And the card, like back itself, like the actual texture is also
the texture is metal instead of flames.
Right.
All in all, it's a neat little artistic change.
No, I agree. I think it fits the theme a little bit more too. Because something else. I mean, this is super art nerdy stuff. Like most of the Disney Villainous cards, if I remember correctly, I believe most of the text in them is like yellow, or the borders of them.
It is. It's like kind of goldish.
Yeah, they're a goldish, except for Pete. Pete was unique. Here, even the text on the inside and the borders and everything, it's all white. It's a white texture. So, I do think it's a little different on Ultron, if I'm not mistaken. I think they might have changed the coloring a little bit.
I think they had to, just because I remember his gray was kind of brighter.
Right. Yeah, it was a lighter gray to make sure that all worked out correctly.
Yeah. So it probably is different, but I like the change here.
I agree.
It definitely makes it look a little unique.
One other thing, too, and this wasn't something I was truly expecting, was that so back when this officially, when Marvel Villainous got revealed, is that there were these new fake cards called events. And it seems like now there are events that are actually tied to specific characters. So Taskmaster and Killmonger both had a card that was like shown that is related to them. And it seems like and in this case, like the stolen antiques for Killmonger, it directly affects Killmonger. That's pretty cool.
I'm not sure if it's still like this one's weird. The events just got a lot weirder.
Yeah.
Because the assumption is that maybe you can still only have one event in play.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The fact that there's villain-specific events is pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, because
that reward is pretty significant.
Right. And the thing too is that so one of the original event was called Avengers Assemble. And what that one was shown off to do is like every turn, essentially a villain has to play a hero onto themselves. And then when they defeat that particular event, they can defeat a hero. Here, this stolen antiques affects Killmonger, but the reward only allows Killmonger to benefit off of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very, very curious as to where this one specifically is going to lead.
Yeah,
as to whether you can have like global and
character specific
individual events, or if there can only be one ever, or because it partially makes sense for them to only have one event playable, because you always, in that case, kind of have the option of passing on the reward.
Right.
Like you can try to keep the event around in the hopes of defeating it and getting the reward, or you can just play over it and say, yeah, we're not dealing with this right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm curious, though, if items have a huge need in Killmonger's deck, though. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like forcing you to make sure that you.
It's not really implied that there is, just from what we've seen, other than Shuri, I guess. But
we'll have to see.
I don't know, because like I'm even looking at the picture of the realm that we've got, and it only looks like he's got the one weapons cache. Granted, I don't know how useful that actually is.
Yeah, it's true. And the thing is, and it's hard to kind of read what it says.
On your turn, you may play up to blank. Yeah, it's hard to read.
Yeah, it's hard to read.
You may pay. I'm gonna keep looking at that. I might try to figure that out later.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to you on that one, everybody, at some point.
I don't know. It looks like a relevant card just based on the amount of text, but
yeah, no, it's interesting. Also, I got to shout out that Killmonger mover looks dope. I was not expecting it to look that cool. It looks awesome.
It's neat. I'll give him credit for it. It's neat.
Yeah. One more thing I want to tout on Killmonger though, that we have not brought up yet, is that so if you look at his domain realm, so we already talked about the fact that there's an extension to the domain where there's actually like a specialty zone where you're playing the specialty cards and whatnot. And this may be something specific to Killmonger. We don't know, but it looks like something that is going to be every character is going to have something.
Yeah.
But one of the locations in Killmonger's realm has a unique suite of icons or action icons that we have not seen yet in this game. What is it specifically? What I like to call out, and I can't, it says the great something, but at the bottom it is an activate and a discard, and at the top it is a power and a play card. There is no fate action.
There's no fate there.
No.
It makes me wonder, based on the other weird action icon we don't really know what is at the Golden City, if there's only going to be one fate in each domain now.
I don't think that's the case.
Or at the very least, there's one fate, and then that new action specifically toggles events.
Or something. I think I don't actually know if they specifically said that there's something called fate in this game yet. Or they're referencing it that way. That's the thing, because that's what I feel like whatever that icon is, I think
it might just be a new fate icon. I don't know.
Yeah, because
it's just the fact that it bears a lot of resemblance to the activate for me makes me think that maybe it's just an event toggle, or like a trigger for something.
Yeah,
because it's not outside the realm of possibility for characters to have unique action icons, but I don't think this is one.
No, and I don't think you would introduce something like that in the
not on the base game.
No.
So that's either a new fate icon or they've got some fate event tomfoolery going on here.
Yeah. I'm really kind of curious to see how that operates. Because it seems very it's I mean, like, we could sit here and speculate, blah blah blah. It more than likely is the new fate action. It's just like I don't think specifically anything in the articles of anything has referenced it being a fate card, or a fate action. There is definitely a hero deck, and you obviously as the player will be able to play cards from that said quote unquote hero deck. But how they're actually referencing that in the game,
it looks to me like they're just being really careful about not showing off any of the cards yet that really reference it.
Yeah.
Is probably what it is.
Makes sense. Yeah. Specifically that like target that particular action.
Yeah, because if there's something different with the rules that they're still working on or that they want to kind of keep under wraps, it would make sense for them to try to skirt around it as much as they can.
Which makes perfect sense. All right.
I don't know. Interesting to think about.
Yeah. Taskmaster.
Oh, Taskmaster, how you...
There sadly is not as much information on Taskmaster as I would like, but the thing is, his goal is very clear, and I think that's the biggest thing we need to highlight with this character.
Oh, yeah.
So, Taskmaster's goal, I wish I had a better image right in front of me of it, but his goal is that he needs to have a character or an ally at each location in his domain that has 5 strength. That's it.
Yep.
And for those of you who are like, wait, so that's a start of turn condition, right?
No, it's instant.
Yep.
It's instant.
It's instant.
It brings to light just kind of a thing we talked about in the original Disney, where instant characters have a really nasty habit of being powerful.
Right. But the thing is, though, and I've always said this in terms of design of any games, if everyone has an instant win goal,
Oh yeah, then it's taken care of.
Yeah, that takes care of itself. And it seems like Killmonger's goal is the same deal. So it doesn't seem like once he like whatever, like with the challenge of the throne, that seems like something he instantly wins. So,
Possibly.
right.
So I'm actually I don't mean to bring this back over to Killmonger again, but I'm looking a little bit closer at explosives now because it's actually easier to read than I thought it would be.
Really?
Because explosives is something that's referenced by a couple of his cards. It says
Really?
remove this item to defeat up to 2 characters at this location. Explosives cannot defeat characters with a strength of 5 or more.
Wait.
So it's exactly what you think it is.
But when do you discard it, though?
All it says is remove this item to defeat up to 2. That's all it says.
Huh.
There's no activate icon or anything.
Huh. Huh. There's some weird stuff in this game.
I didn't realize it was going to be that easy to read that one.
Oh my god, that's incredibly weird.
Huh.
Yeah, how does that
remove this item to defeat up to 2 characters.
I mean, that makes sense, like, what it would do, because it's essentially Marvelous Trap.
I mean, yeah.
That's all it is.
And immediately it looks like a really good way of dealing with Klaw.
I mean,
just blow him up.
Was it 5 strength or less? Yeah, oh my. Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
There's some weird stuff in this game.
Some
because you know what I realized too, if you can relocate allies to other domains for all intents and purposes, because let me make sure I reread Klaw again correctly, so I'm not getting this wrong. Yeah, someone else could defeat Klaw for you if they wanted to.
Oh yeah, totally could.
Yeah, it doesn't say Killmonger has to. Why would they do that? Who knows? But if they really wanted to willingly, they could. Oh my god. Some weird stuff.
Interesting things.
Yeah. We just got sidetracked. We're about to talk about Taskmaster. We're like, oh yeah, was it instant win goals? But like, holy crap. Because you have to be able to pull that explosives off. Like anytime. Right?
There's no activate icon or anything on it. I don't know what kind of thing they're going for, but if it's just a anytime trigger,
right.
like, ooh.
And like the mines specifically say that you can put them in other realms.
Yeah, you could stick it anywhere, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of that, one of the other things that with going back to Taskmaster, and this might be why Killmonger needs that mines card, is that there is a move action here that is not something we've seen before. This move action has the arrows that we've used to seeing on the move action card, but it also has top and bottom, which
it's omnidirectional movement. You can definitely just move cards from your realm to somewhere else.
Right. Or in your own place to wherever you want.
Yeah.
I would say that like there's no longer adjacent moving. I'm pretty sure this is just move this anywhere.
Go everywhere.
Yep. Anywhere it goes. So
very, very interesting.
yeah, no, I'm curious to see Because now, like, if you look at the rest of Killmonger's realm that we've actually can look at based off what is visible, you don't see any of that.
He doesn't have a move at all.
No, he doesn't have move at
It's
all.
visible.
So it seems like maybe like, and this is actually something interesting from like I don't want to say matchup because I honestly don't think this is trying to aim for the same type of play style as Disney villains to some extent, but like they're trying to actually give the villains different weaknesses, like direct and not make it directly through. Like some characters in Disney have weaknesses through like maybe their realm and how things are set up towards their goal, but like we're now trying to make it universal. Like this character has this weakness where they can't move stuff around. It's pretty clear with Taskmaster that Taskmaster's allies aren't incredibly strong. Although if you look at the more high res version of this, that jabbed whatever thing, it looks like Bowman.
Jacket Bowman, yeah.
Strength, but I mean, he's still expensive. So
he is kind of expensive, and I'm wondering if he's not going to have some variation on the loses strength for X allies kind of effect.
He might.
Or X heroes even, I don't know.
I'm trying to see because his event doesn't have to.
It's hard to tell with these pictures.
Right. Because it also seems like based off the event that is tied to Taskmaster called government work, seems like Taskmaster might want to move stuff around a lot more. Because it says specifically Taskmaster cannot relocate allies or items except to this event.
And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but it seems like Taskmaster's thing is going to be stacking allies up in a particular location. Because one of the items they actually show off is training dummy.
Yeah,
looks pretty simple. Just place a strength 1+1 strength token on each ally you control at this location.
Yep.
So what I think it's going to be is he's going to play them all to one location, buff them up, and then spread them out.
Right.
So it makes sense for him to be really movement oriented because he may not always be able to get redeploy. He may just have to do it manually.
Right, because redeploy is also expensive.
By the way, redeploy, relocate up to 3 allies. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's incredibly good.
That's
I also
mobile.
assume with that, like Taskmaster, there's probably gonna be some heroes or something like that where they'll be like, "All right, you need to go take these guys out, or else you can't win," or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Black Widow in and of herself kind of
true.
Gives a little bit of that. It's going to be interesting to see how many different allies he has too.
No, that's true.
Now that I think about it, because we see 2 right from the front, but it's kind of like he's obviously going to have 4 of them, but I'm just curious if he ends up having more,
or if he's
like
got
more of like
copies. That's also something too.
He may have duplicates of like the Bowman, but this Anaconda, I don't think he will.
No, like I actually don't know because I know for a fact I think Crossbones was supposed to be in that Black Widow movie, so I don't know if we'll see
maybe
Crossbones
so.
Here.
Maybe so.
As a possibility. I'm curious to see that. Also,
it's interesting the way government work is worded, where it says it can't relocate allies except to this event. It makes me wonder if events don't kind of create their own sub-location.
That's what I think they are meant to be.
To like move them there and then take them out, Vanquish style.
And then like the global ones are more like, all right, whoever does it first.
Exactly. Or whoever, because it would make sense for everybody to contribute to it, but just whoever pulls the trigger.
Exactly. Exactly right.
Gets credit for it. I think that'll be interesting to watch go down. And it goes back to whether or not these events work for everybody.
Right.
Or if it's just one global, one individual, like how many different events can be going on?
I mean, I assume that you would because like with government work and what we saw with Killmonger, they're character specific. So I feel like you can have multiple events out on the board, and probably each of the villains probably only have 1 or 2 specific events that are tied to their particular character. I have a feeling this common fate deck thing is going to be more it's going to be more event heavy, and we'll probably bring this up here shortly about the compatibility aspect of it, and also some kind of maybe key things that might be missing from some villain decks, but I feel like there are multiple events will be out, and then it's kind of like you, and especially the global ones, you're gonna be fighting over the bonus. That's what you're gonna be fighting over, like trying to get rid of. Yeah, because like with Avengers Assemble, it specifically says whoever completes that one gets to defeat a hero. So
which could range from completely worthless to game saving.
Exactly. And it's clear, too, because if you look at Killmonger's realm, the vanquish action's at the location all the way to the left. So it still seems like you vanquish stuff normally, and I assume.
Oh yeah, that's the same.
Yeah,
sure.
I assume it's the same with events too, because if events have strength, you're going to be taking them out like that as well. So, but yeah, also shout out to Taskmaster's art. Fabio Perez, the person that we interviewed on the show, did the art for Taskmaster, and holy shit, it is incredible.
Oh, it's great.
Oh my god,
it is very, very good.
And it's kind of funny too, is like you can see his Jafar style a little bit in the Taskmaster portrait, a little bit, but like you can tell it's definitely evolved since last time he's done the art for Villainous, if that makes sense, and like a great way. It looks really good. It looks really, really good.
It's solid all around. I can't wait to see the rest of the deck.
Yeah, seriously, it looks awesome. Shout outs to Fabio. Seriously, this is an awesome art piece. I'm also just a huge fan of Taskmaster. For those of you who might saw me in Discord, Taskmaster was one of the characters I played a lot in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I also, like, with his introduction to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I learned a lot more about the character. And for being honest, he is the character I am most excited for in this game. Like, straight up. Like, I'm still going to try out, like, Ultron, and I have a little bit more interest in Killmonger now, which, being 100% honest, was not interested in Killmonger. They have more interested now. So, shout outs to them for game design. But, Taskmaster's my guy. He literally is everything I wanted to do. Kill stuff, have allies out, make him buff. He technically is a teacher, and I relate to that. But yeah, I can't wait. Who are you most looking forward to? Ditto.
At this point, I really want to see how Taskmaster goes.
He's got some Pete. He's got some Pete.
He definitely does, and I like that.
I know. But yeah.
Okay, so I went back to look at the actual Board Game Geek thing for Killmonger.
Yeah.
The article itself does say plant explosives in 2 domains and you win.
What?
So I'm wondering if it's an instant win for him too.
Really?
Yep.
Hold on, I gotta read that right now. Holy crap! Let's go. Where is this? I'm just trying to get to the article. So really, you just have to plant 2 explosives and win?
Just plant 2.
Are you kidding me? Oh my god, you're not kidding. So wow, 2 characters.
It might be an instant win.
Well, that makes sense because
I wonder if it's meant to be a start your turn with the explosions thing, and the explosions, once you move them to someone else's realm, they can trigger it too.
You know what I think what it is? The way this works is that you can only play characters to your domain. Then with some relocation options.
Yeah, then you can move it around, yeah.
Then you can move stuff around. Because you, in theory, like you have to defeat Klaw to get the Challenge of the Throne out, and then Challenge of the Throne is like, you need to plant whatever 2 explosives or whatnot, and then the only way you can relocate, because Killmonger by native, like, naturally does not have the ability to move stuff around.
It's got to be control of minds, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's interesting. I'm glad I checked that.
Yeah, no, that's a good catch.
It does say in the next paragraph down, it says also contains event cards that can be pulled from the Fate deck.
Okay.
So it is all one thing. Some events have a general effect that apply to all villains, and you can play allies to these events or relocate them in order to overcome the strength.
Okay.
Which makes sense. We knew that. Whichever villains participate gain rewards. So sometimes you'll partner with another player to dismiss an event that's hampering both of you.
That makes sense.
So yeah, that would be cool. So yeah, we did it.
Well, hot damn.
All right, we've got some information, guys.
Yeah, there we go.
We have some things.
We understand a little bit more. I also like how at the bottom of the article says disclosure. I was hired by Ravensburger to edit the rules for more Marvel Villainous Infinite Power, and no,
I can't say what the fifth one is. We already know. Don't worry about it.
So funny. No, it's interesting. What is it? Was that? Yeah, that's Eric Martin. Yeah, so Eric Martin's like the big co-founder, or I think founder of Board Game Geek, and the fact that he actually helped co-write the rules, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
I'm straight up like, that means the rule book is probably gonna be really cleaned up, which makes me excited because we as we all know, we are very rule sticklers around here when it comes to how things interact.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to be with a game like this because it's like you don't want to find any mysteriously game-breaking interactions that weren't really intended.
No, exactly. You don't want that at all. And we have come in way too many of scenarios where like we just don't know how things are supposed to operate, and having a really cleaned up rule book will help a lot of that. And I think that's why, like, when you look at stuff like Black Widow saying defeated,
yeah, some of these wording changes do make a difference,
because it's like with Rapunzel with the frying pan incident thing, when people have talked about, like, the whole thing was like, oh, she's technically not defeated. It says when she would be discarded. Well, if you made a defeat event, like a event trigger, goes back to programming, people. That's what happens when you're computer science programmer nerds.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you make that event, and as long as you tie that event with saying, all right, when this character is defeated characters discard the items attached to them. That makes that whole thing a lot more simple and cleaner to understand. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it just makes it easier to play for new people too.
Yeah, no, exactly.
As long as it's consistent. That's the main thing, is it has to be consistent.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I was teaching someone how to play Villainous actually starting last week. It's one of my new neighbors. And when we were playing, it's amazing how like there's a like desperation and pride. Like what us having the cleanup with those cards is good, but like someone who's not incredibly into tabletop and wants to dive into the geeky side of things, they're just gonna interpret that card as they please.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be nice to have a cleaned up rule book for this game. It's gonna be really good. Now, Ditto, this is what I kind of want to end this Marvel stuff on. Compatibility. It's an interesting topic.
It is. It's definitely not going to be as easy as we'd hoped.
Nope.
But I don't think that it's going to be that hard.
Yes and no. I think it really kind of requires some in-house like fan testing to see how it works. Because like Taskmaster specifically with his goal, I don't seeing that complicated to try to implement. However, I could see something like Killmonger's being a little different, where
it depends on how those explosives actually work.
Yeah, and obviously it requires us to actually play it out, but like knowing that where they have to be played in other players' domains, so that means specifically like they have to go somewhere else. I don't know how that works because I can see that in a matchup wise screwing up a lot of different characters.
It
really
could potentially, but it's going to depend on whatever information we get once it actually does release. But I still don't think it's going to be super complicated.
Why do you think so? I would like to know your thoughts and feelings about this, Ditto.
Well, obviously they still have, or they have this thing about tagging specific fate cards to specific characters.
Right.
Like obviously, Black Panther, Okoye, continue.
Right.
Between that and the potentiality of there being multiple copies of events or multiple like character specific events, And I think the unified fate thing is still taken care of. For those of you who watch the show and haven't heard this at this point, I've kind of been in the background working on a Kingdom Hearts sort of set for Villainous. And a lot of these mechanics that I'm seeing them show up with here more and more are things that I've included in there. And in my playtesting of those against the official characters, I have not yet come across any major glaring issues.
And why is that?
I don't really know. I was expecting to find many more problems. But so far, I haven't seen anything that's just really really stood out to me as being an issue.
I gotcha. I guess like with this relocation thing, like would we have to homebrew relocation to only because it's obvious that relocation is actually an action because you can move it anywhere. Like with certain characters,
It looks like they're replacing the move action with relocate.
Right.
Granted,
we don't know how it works exactly. Like maybe for all intents and purposes that you use it, and if you want to move it to a different domain, you can move it anywhere, but maybe in your own realm, you can only still move it adjacent. We don't know.
Maybe so. We're not sure yet. Even if like there's a small change like that, I don't think it's going to change all that much. Because yeah, it looks like the Marvel characters are definitely designed to have a little more crossplay between the realms, but if you look at them in a bubble the same way the Disney characters were intended, I think they would still work.
I definitely could see Taskmaster working at least.
It depends on the mechanic for explosives, but I don't see Killmonger necessarily being an issue either. It just depends on how exactly those explosives work.
True. We just need to actually mess around with it to be a little more understanding of how that works. But yeah, no, I'm really conflicted. Mainly just like after looking at the Killmonger stuff and even some of the Taskmaster stuff, it's just like we don't know everything yet. But I want to know more because I really do want this to be compatible where we can play these together. But like,
I think it will be. Yeah. I still don't think it's going to be as complicated as it looks.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think it will be complicated to do. Put it that way. I think it's more of like, right now we're already seeing two villains with start your turn goal or no start your turn goals, and both of them actually by nature, really are normally start of turn goals in other Disney villain character suites. Like Taskmasters is literally almost like a complete ripoff of Pete's Rule the Realm. It's a little different. But it's instant. So as soon as you are able to get you have an ally each location and then have them at the strength, that's an instant win. With Klaw, it's get both those explosives at other domains. That's also not difficult to do once you kind of get the engine going.
To be fair, the other three may all be start your turn.
Yeah,
goals.
for all intents and purposes.
We don't know any of that.
Yeah.
Even with that though, Pete had a lot of start your turn goals. Cruella has they technically all have start your turn stuff, but there's several characters in the Disney Villainous that do have instant wins.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll just kind of go back to being a matchup thing. Like some of the start your turn characters might not necessarily be all that good against the Marvel set.
And you want to know something? I don't know if you've noticed this at all. What is one card we have not seen? Card type. We have not seen at all in any of this stuff.
Well, we have seen conditions, haven't we?
No.
Maybe that is the one.
We have not seen conditions.
I wonder if they're cutting conditions completely.
I feel like because of the way that this game works with actually being able to screw around with your other players' domains, if they're cutting conditions, because condition cards are the only other way to interact really with the other player outside of taking the fate action.
Which, if they are, that actually is a pretty significant buff to the Disney characters in this exchange.
Yeah, you are right. That is.
I wonder if that isn't going to be the thing that makes it compatible in and of itself.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. The thing too is like, if you were to do the events, would the events only be tied to your character? No one else could play against them.
That's kind of how I read it. The way it's implied is if it's like an individual event, which if we're doing it as compatibility or as compatible as we can, then yeah, that's how it has to be. But the individual events really only your contributing to.
Yeah, because like Killmonger, like the Killmonger and the Taskmaster events we've seen, they only really harm that character. So it's not like, in a way in itself, like if that was the fate card you decided to pull and play, even though you might not be blocking action economy, you're still
yeah. Because it does block action economy though, because both of the events we've seen that are character specific or can't play items or can't move items or allies. Both of which are highly important to that character's style.
That's true.
So it's you're not directly blocking actions, but you're effectively doing it's blocking actions the same way Aerial does.
Right.
Where it's less about the physical actions you're blocking and more about the inability to follow it up with anything.
Yeah. It's kind of its way of doing specialty in the Fate deck. That's essentially what it's doing. Yeah. It's persistence.
Which
yeah, we'll have to see. This is the thing I'm really kind of looking forward to the most, to see how compatible it is overall, because I would love to make it so this is all one kind of big happy family, like
I think it can be. I think it can be fairly easily.
I trust Ido's judgment, because if we're also being 100% honest, before we even knew about these guys a long time ago, I'm pretty sure Ditto called it. And Ditto has not been wrong yet on this. So I might jinx it though. All of a sudden, the next Disney set is like, oh god, it's nothing but like animated like cartoon villains. It's freaking.
Hey, if they want to officialize Bill Cipher, I'll take them officializing Bill Cipher.
I mean, I'd be down with that too. After playing Failure Factory's Bill Cipher, man, I'd be totally down with Bill Cipher. But yeah, pre-orders go live July 6th. Game releases July 26th. It's gonna be an interesting time. The wait up, the build up. This is when we're gonna start seeing people post their reviews, posting probably how to plays. We'll probably see some more cards. On the show, we plan on doing a recap for once we get our hands on the game and are able to play it, because it's going to be an interesting game to see. And then we'll probably do our once we do that, we'll probably talk about how easy it is to homebrew and make it so it's compatible with Disney, because I know from me trying to run these tournament things right now on my end, I really would like to make sure we can include the Marvel characters with everything else, personally, because I know you folks would like to see that too. But all right, I think that's it for Marvel. Ditto, you got any last words?
Not exactly. Just keep posted, guys. I don't think we're through with all the news yet. But...
No, I think we're through. We're probably through most of the major stuff, but when it comes to reviews and everything, that's the stuff that'll be coming up. We won't probably be talking directly about that on the show, but keep an eye on Discord. We'll have a chat. But I'm excited. I am probably more excited than I probably was back in March, and that's not just because we're closer. It's just because we've seen a lot more stuff that's just going to make this more interesting. So, alrighty, Ditto. Thanks for joining me, as usual. I much appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And until next time, everybody, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. But as always, stay delightfully wicked.